Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. What if I told you much of what we're seeing in the area of domestic violence, specifically in the African American community, is more than random dysfunction? What if I told you that? What if I told you that it's accumulated trauma? What if I told you that it has something to do with historical grief? What if I told you that it possibly is linked to a pain that has never been named, never fully mourned, and therefore never healed? I'm not making excuses about anything or anything anyone has done. That's not what this is. But when we go back, I truly believe when we go back and we think about the dynamic that we're seeing in the African American community and the vastness of it and how pervasive it has become, we are dealing with an epidemic. We are dealing with an identity crisis. We are dealing with an existential injury, a debacle. That's what we are dealing with. And we are shaping this in the form of relationship challenges. And it's so much deeper than that. The late Dr. Gardner C. Taylor, he once gave a prophetic word that the church had turned its back on Mother Africa and disconnected itself. I think he said disconnected itself from the deep wounds carried by her children. And he said, and because of that rapture, the children would mourn their existence, their identity, their belonging. Think about that. To mourn your existence, your identity, your belonging. Because what he said, when people do not know who they are, where they belong, or why they matter, pain begins searching for expression. And we see it. We're seeing it play out in front of us. Sometimes it plays out, that expression, through silence. Sometimes it's through addiction. Sometimes it's through violence. Sometimes it's through rage, right? Sometimes through emotional detachment. And sometimes through hopelessness. So deep, it destroys entire family systems. Think about that. We want to keep calling it domestic violence. We want to keep throwing community care services, wraparound services. Yeah, we want to cognitive behavior therapy. We want to throw that in there. Now, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so I'm not against any of that. Mental health is paramount. I believe we need to get to that place. But there's a deeper association here. And when I say this, I already know most of you are like, oh God, here we go with that again. But research, and you join me on my podcast, From Pain to Purpose, you will understand that we are in the middle of an awakening. The fifth awakening. We'll talk about that. The great awakening. We'll talk about that. We will talk about what needs to be talked about. Dr. Joy DeGruy, she started talking about it some time ago, and she described it as what? Post-traumatic slave syndrome. Nobody wants to talk about post-traumatic slave syndrome. Nobody wants to talk about PTSS. And what is going to help you understand is the multi-generational trauma that has happened, combined with continued oppression and a lack of healing opportunities. And this has created adaptive survival behaviors that become normalized within communities. So you're going to see the hypervigilance. Think about it, the vacant esteem. No matter what you do and how you try to comfort, and we're calling them projects now, but we're looking at, call it what it is, vacant esteem, internalized rage, family fragmentation, emotional suppression, violence normalized through survival. And if we are honest with ourselves, we see this map everywhere. We see it. We don't know how to name it. We don't know what it is. So we say it's just domestic violence. It's just power and control. I'll send you to the batterers intervention prevention program. Yeah, I'll get you some services. Yeah. I'll get you to a specialty court. No, this is so much deeper than that. And the crazy part is by design. So you want to know more about this? You join me on my podcast, From Pain to Purpose. And we're also going to talk about the healing aspect of it and what it looks like. And one area is the shades of purple. But I'll come back and talk about that later as we build this community of healing and move from pain to purpose. Y'all walk with me, all right?